there is a distinction between business and environment. I've got to get a business priorities right first. If I don't make money, I can't get into environment. If I don't have the money, I can't talk of rural telecommunication. I can't talk of getting connected to the rural areas when I don't make money. My investors will throw me out. I'll be without a job, and all my designations will have no use later on. So what I want to tell you is, there is a telecom split happening. We are seeing that 65% penetration, but there is a growth scope further available. We have 62,000 villages to be connected. We have capability of going up to 460,000 towers in the current conservative way if we have to look at 100% penetration. We have spent in about roughly 80 to 90,000 crore rupees at our course for over 325,000 towers we have. But the best part is that 70% of these towers are in the rural and semi-urban areas. So about 230,000 odd are there. Out of that, about 80,000 have been electrified. And that means there's scope for further. Now, as some data came out, 60% of the power that is being met today is through diesels. So about 2 billion liters per annum is the diesel consumption of the tower companies, the telecom companies. About 6 to 7 million tons of carbon is the emission that we do per annum. Second point is the 5 top telecom companies consume 4,000 megawatts of power. Now, classically for a typical tower, I require 25 lakh rupees and I spend about 6 to 7 lakh rupees which goes towards energy management. So when someone talks of renewable energy, alternate energy, new energy, I have to spend in about 3 lakhs to 7 lakh rupees depending on the power I require. Where is the business case for it if I have not got the opportunity to earn it back? Today in an infrastructure business where we are in towers, if I don't have a tendency of 1.7 to 2, I do not make successful business. And I have to do that in 1 year. So if I have to incur an additional capex, I need some funds to come from somewhere. The next point is, in a very inadvertent form, the tower companies have done a lot of community service. 80,000 towers that have been given with grid power requires about 250 meters of high tension per site, which is 20,000 kilometers of grid power we have provided. So that's part of a requirement for our generation of power, has benefited the rural community. So that is one aspect, and as we see growth happening, we see some more such villages getting connected. But the accessibility is a major issue in India. Certain areas it requires about 4 to 5 kilometers of high tension connectivity. Where do I get this money from? So this is where I feel there is a challenge we can throw between those supplying renewable energy for solar, wind and all, and those who are going to make this happen. Because for an operator to meet the TRI mandate which says that we have to attend to villages which are 2,000 and more in number, it requires some business case. Why will an operator put in a tower where he won't earn an ARPU? Why will I put in a tower when the operator will not give an OPEX? So someone has to subsidize this. My experience for the last years of fund which has come in was, it went into a bid. Most tower companies will not say, but I can assure you they are not making good business case. Because if you bid for something to build a rural area and I have to generate revenue out of it, there is no motivation. I think this fund is a fund which came for the growth of infrastructure. So my proposal is a little radical and different, where I feel Mr. Jain and Dr. Uppal can take it to Mr. Bhattacharya is, why don't we look at a relationship between those who supply renewable energy, from those who want to construct these towers, that is likes of my company, and USO. What I suggest is, you have an SPV. You create an SPV which administers a fund. To me, it makes no sense to put in a solar and wind power for multiple reasons as of now. I do it only where I have to make sure my business is successful. So to do this, I firstly can't go to the MRE to take subsidy. It's a very cumbersome process. I don't want to do that. If USO could give me the fund, they take on the infrastructure responsibility. The first phase is, what we do is, we reduce carbon footprint. Today I am consuming 6 to 7 million tons of carbon, emitting that much. If I can electrify more and more villages, possibly this will come to 35 to 40%. So I have met a rural obligation by giving power to villages. First step by electricity. You take over the energy infrastructure. You fund the companies, this is tower cost, and we have an SPV which administers this fund. It gives you motivation to spend that extra money. You can get a transformer or a grid power which takes to the village, and we see growth in multiple forms. It's good to talk of bandwidth, good to talk of everything, but if there is no power, where does this bandwidth come from? So